friends, I was going to say old friends,
Yeah.
that literally we would not be in this room today if it were not for these two wonderful people here. This is Steve and Bonita Wallace. They're from Grand Junction, Colorado, and they were part of the original crew that started CALA. And so I want to ask them a couple of questions. They've got some things they wanted to share, and I just wanted to share this with you guys and let you kind of know a little bit more about how we got here in the first place. So, tell us a little bit. Steve, do you want to start?
Yeah. Well, Bonita and I came to Colorado in about 1979. That's hard to remember.
19.
Oh, yeah, 1979.
Jokes.
And we were doing different work and everything. My wife was asked by some people to keep a lady, and I'm going to have her tell about that. But we were in Grand Junction in 1979. We started our business in 1980, and there were no regulations at that time. But we met another couple that was also doing assisted living, George and Jean Blanca, and we got together and thought, well, we need to get to know each other and find out what we're doing and basically start an association so that we can keep up with state regulations and what goes on. At that time, most everything was adult foster care, and we got a whopping $573 total per month, which those were some of the regulations even for that program. Then we found out there were other programs and a lot of other homes, and we were looking to get the information out like we're doing today and know what's going on with our industry. So we started Colorado Residential Care Association. Since that time, it's been changed to Colorado Assisted Living. And so
When was that start?
it started in 1982. And the name changed in 1997 to the assisted living part. And I'm going to give this to my wife, Bonita, to go ahead and tell you a little bit about what we did at that time.
Well, first of all, it's really great getting to meet you all and seeing that this industry, if you want to call that, is so much needed. Being a caregiver, I really feel like, is a special person. Loving people, caring for them, you are gifted in that. And so, just want to encourage you to keep up the good work. I do know that when we first started, we kept a lady who was in a nursing home, and she didn't want to be there anymore. She went to our church. So we moved her into our home. She taught me a lot of things, which was really great. Sweet lady, and taught us all. She was part of our family. And then others began to know what we were doing. So then they decided that they would like to have their mom and dad come live with us. So we started building. So I see there's a building vendor back there, so for group homes. So that's really a good thing as well. But then we, in the meantime, in the last, since 1980, like Steve said, we have grown. We had grown for doing a day program for DDs, developmentally disabled in Mesa County. We did that retirement day program. We had other group homes, and then now we have downsized to a 16-bed community, and we really like that. We have our grandkids that work with us. A little bit about about Steve and I. We've been married 60 years this June. Wow. And I'm happy to still remember him after all these years. So anyway, yeah, and he remembers me. I think that's really kind of fun. So we're semi-retired. We have 4 grandkids that work for us, especially since a lot of the COVID kind of hit, you're short-staffed. So you use family members. I even came from grandchild from California. And so they're in their late 20s and early 30s. Our granddaughter now runs the facility. She loves it. She's our administrator. So we do a lot of part-time now, overseeing is what we do. But just to talk a little bit about what we're about, way back in 1989, George and Jean Blanca. I know Jean Blanca is not with us anymore. She is gone. She's in heaven. And so, but her husband, I don't know. Have you heard about? You don't know anything about George? We haven't heard of George either. But they came to our door, wanted to know if we would start an association with them, so we did. Excuse me. There were no regulations at that particular time. I do know the state was wanting to formulate some, so I know Steve will talk about that a little bit, about the, excuse me, about the state, us working with the state. We drove from Grand Junction to Denver once a month to meet with the regulators, to meet with the health department, and to help build our industry in a way that is not overbearing and with all the regulations and all. We knew we needed regulations, but we also knew that if we had too many of them, that we couldn't function. And so, but I'd like to just kind of read a little bit about what we did. We went throughout the state, and we have areas and regions where there would be representatives from each region, or called ambassadors, in all parts of the state. We would have sessions like this with topics that were needed at that particular time. We would have the speakers come from the health department like you all do here, which is really great because it's all informative. We take that back and we implement that within our community. And so we did that for 10 years or 15, 20 years. We're kind of in a retirement mode. So if you don't see us too much, that's why. So, but anyway, now we were working on, in 1989, we submitted a rough draft of a letter to solicit association sponsors for the board's approval, and all suggestions for additions or deletions were appreciated. What do these notes say? We even had an administrator's course through the University of Virginia. So a lot of the administrators were, including ourselves, were able to go through courses to become an administrator, regular classes and all. And we tried to, and we partnered with the Gerontological Society in doing more work with them, also with the mental health, and kind of cooperating our skills with their knowledge as well, because we had some mental health issues with some of our clients that we had with the mentally ill. Then also we did surveys throughout the state too with the homes of what their needs were, to try to implement and help with those needs with questionnaires and all. I'd like to also read this letter from George Blanca, because he was a neat man. Pardon? Yes, he was the first president, George Blanca was, and Steve will talk about that. But he had this letter. We are an association of personal care boarding homeowners whose main concern is educating our members in all areas of caregiving which apply to the unique needs of the elderly and the chronically mentally ill population we provide a home for. We are adamant in our wish to provide the best possible care. And he's asking, he had written these letters out to all the agencies and the different people that we would like to have them partner with us. We need your support. We need sponsors. We need to let you know we are out here filling in an important gap in this nation's continuum of care for those who are so vulnerable. We are a nonprofit, grassroots organization which gives the support to our members to enable them to afford to keep providing the services so needed in this country with the extended lifespan and the reduction in governmental support for those in need of affordable housing and 24-hour supervision and care. We are affiliated with the National Residential Care Association, the Colorado Association of Homes and Services for the Aging, CASA, the Colorado Health Care Association, the Mental Health Corporation of Denver, and the Colorado State Department of Social Services. Please help us to give the best. All sponsors will be acknowledged in our newsletters and other appropriate publications, as well as in a personal letter to qualify your tax deduction. Sponsorship may be from $20 for individuals or upward. We thank you kindly, sincerely, George Blanca, President. And I really appreciate this letter because at this particular time, we did not have computers, we did not have, I don't even think we had cell phones. No, we had no cell phones. Wow. We have a lot of history to let you all know about that you probably forgot about in your history books. But anyway, all we had was snail mail. We had landlines, of course, at that particular time. But anyway, just to say that, from my perspective, I really appreciate this association and what the board is doing now. None of the board members are paid. We were never paid because we also knew that number one, we would rather put those resources into materials, into teaching materials for the administrators and the caregivers. And so none of us, it was all voluntarily given, as well as using our own funds to travel and all. So I appreciate the board members and everything you're continuing to do now for the association. So thank you so much for allowing us to be here as well.
One of the things I wanted to bring out was I served on the advisory committee at the State Department for 10 years. And like Bonita said, we'd drive every month over from Grand Junction to Denver to attend it. And a lot of times during that 10-year period, they weren't sure totally what the program was going to be. When in 1986, when licensure come in, their program was to regulate us without any funds. The funds had to come from us. In other words, through the licensure payments that we made. And at that time, it was very, very difficult to really get a response. It took about 3 years to really set up from 1986 to about 1990 almost. So we're still, as you can see through all the programs we see here demonstrated with the regulations that we do have, that they keep changing. Seems like every year we get a new regulation, and it just throws one more thing into what we're doing. But I do appreciate all of you that have committed to serving this population. And there was, when they did start regulations, and we did have the first regulation, they were even talking about them themselves having volunteers to do the inspections. And
Can I tell that story?
so I'm going to have Bonita tell the story about how broke they were.
Well, our first survey was really interesting. I got to tell you this. I didn't know. I asked Peter if I had to tell this or not. But I was cooking and getting ready for dinner for residents and all. And so a surveyor called from the hotel, from the airport, and I said, she said, I'm coming to survey you. Oh, and I said, oh, okay. But she said, I need a ride. And so, so I picked up the surveyor, bless her heart, her name was Terry Zamel. I don't know if you know her or not. And so I picked her up, and I brought her to our facility. At least I had time to tidy up a little bit. Anymore, they just walk right in, right? At least she called me to pick her up. So I picked her up, and we had a nice conversation, and so I still think about that. Picking up a survey to come survey your home, your facility, and I just thought, oh wow, this is for the players. I got to write that one down. But we had a good working relationship for a lot of years with Terry Zamel, and with even Margaret Johnson. I don't even know if you remember Margaret Johnson, but with her as well. So anyway, okay, I had to tell you that.
Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Peter.
Thank you guys so much for everything you've done for us and for this industry, and I just want to give these guys a big round of applause. Thank you.